to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media with your executive producers, Ida Crawford and Ruth Haskins. This evening, we will not have Ida with us as she is suffering from the death of a loved one in her family. So our condolences go out to her and her family, and she'll be back with us next week. So in spite of the circumstances we all find ourselves experiencing, we can find joy and a reason for gratitude. We hope this is true for each of you. Today, we have coming to the mic, Tamara Burkett. Tamara Burkett is a customer relation management consultant, virtual events facilitator, and #1 bestselling business author. She helps companies use the technology they have to receive more sales. A savvy relationship builder, Tamara appreciates the unique qualities of each person she encounters. She artfully blends tech and relationship strategies to form customized follow-up processes for her clients to help them implement with ease. Well, welcome, Tamara. So glad to have you with us.
Thank you, Ruth. Thanks for having me here. Yeah.
Not our problem. I am eager to talk with you and learn more about what you've done and are doing. So we always begin with, let's say, the beginnings. How did you come into this whole process and area of expertise?
Sure. When I started my business, I started as a customer retention and customer loyalty strategist. So I helped small companies with creating plans to help them build their fan base and retain their clients. As good as those plans were, my clients were having issues with executing the plans, and that's because they didn't have the right technology. So that is what initially started me tumbling down that rabbit hole of technology and rediscovering CRM systems or customer relationship management software. So I started on that journey for my clients and for myself. And within a year, I found myself purchasing, it had to be over like 24 softwares, customizing it to find that they were the wrong system for me, and then having to start that process over again. Mm-hmm. So that happened within a year. And I discovered that I wasn't the only person having those issues with finding the right technology and customizing it and then making sure that it worked for me and not the other way around. And so when I discovered that, I thought, this is a much bigger problem than customer retention and loyalty, because there are well over 1,000 of these systems in the marketplace. And it's extremely difficult for any small business owner or any company to identify the right tools that they need and to make sure they're able to use them on a regular basis.
Okay, so when you say a CRM, we're talking software now. Mm-hmm. What are the areas that were most needed, that people were having big part of trouble? Was it in, let's say if it was retail, mm-hmm. Was it, the buying, merchandising end of it, or was it the operational end of it? What was it that most people have problems with?
Most people have problems with their sales process and their marketing. So when you take a look at even a big company, they have these departments siloed. They have marketing in its own department. They have sales in its own department. They have customer service, customer support, all in their own department. And a lot of information gets lost when you have groups that are siloed, right?
Okay.
So a CRM helps you link those three areas in your business together, so that you understand and you know how effective you are with your marketing, and then how to qualify those people, those leads, for your sales team to come in and start the follow-up process.
That's
right?
awesome.
And so a CRM system is really for those people who have issues with following up with people. They're not able to do that on a consistent basis, and they have contact, like customer information, spread throughout different platforms and different places. A CRM will help you organize that information, and it'll help you collect the data and understand what's going on in that area of your business, so that you can make whatever adjustments you need to increase sales.
That's phenomenal. That is a very important. I can see how needed that would be, because most small businesses, and especially new businesses, really don't have a clear concept of what they're doing. Let's
Right.
face it. And
Oh, I was there.
Yes. So, okay. So since you were there, can you kind of like give us a profile of a client who needs your services?
Sure. A client who needs my services is a person who is using their email account to organize all of their lead and contact information. So for people they meet for the first time, and they seem like they may be a good client, or they seem like they may be a good referral partner, like they know your client, they store all that information in their email account, and maybe they use paper to keep track, or even Excel spreadsheets. If you use Excel spreadsheets to follow up with people, it would benefit you to reach out and talk to me.
Okay. And it's so interesting. As I read your bio, I was like, okay, so what is a CRM? And so I find it fascinating, because it's like an idea that needed to have shown up years ago. But what people were most concerned about was automating. That's a old-fashioned word. Automating, let's say, their sales, their whole organization. And like you said, they did it in pieces. So the operational part got their thing done. And the merchandising got their thing done. But to bring them all together, where you can see how they're working together and see how your clients are fit into that whole picture. That's awesome. That's really tremendous.
Yeah.
So what have been some of your great experiences in working with your clients who have taken on you as a CRM?
Yeah. I worked with an accountant who he had systems in place for managing the actual work with his clients. But when it came again to following up with people, he used paper. He tried to use paper to keep himself organized. So I think we all experience that person that says, right now isn't a good time, but, come back to me in about a month or 6 months from now, right? And that's money that you are leaving on the table if you don't follow up with them. And so you can imagine how many people he encountered in that instance. But, when I started working with him, he understood the importance of being organized. He had everything else in his business organized except for this whole piece of following up with people in his sales. And it really caused a lot of stress in his business. I think his stress level and anxiety was like at an 8 or 9. There were times where he actually kind of like dread going to work. And if you're a business owner, 9 times out of 10, you decided to be self-employed so that you can enjoy the work that you do, right? That's one of the reasons. But he found himself dreading that. But we worked together. I think it was within 6 weeks, he had everything organized. He knew he had an agenda. He knew who he needed to follow up with. He had a system. in terms of who he should follow up with when. He knew exactly what he needed to do at each stage in his sales process. And he also understood that he was doing more work than what he was getting paid for. So he was undervaluing his services.
Oh, wow.
It was really fascinating. And I think he was able to, we found him a CRM and he implemented all within 6 weeks. And that was, I think that was like the record time for for a client to go through that process, and his anxiety went down to like a 3-4. It was really amazing.
Wow. So that is amazing, because most of us are thinking we're working our own businesses. I'm going to tell you, the listening audience is saying, yep, that sounds like me. And having tried to create systems and just end up getting lost in the systems that you create.
Yeah.
Okay. And so they kind of like line up in a nice pile somewhere, and that's more clients that you've kind of like lost because you can't get it organized. So let me ask you that. This is the CRM is not a one size fits all situation.
Right.
Okay. So it's specific perhaps to the type of business that you do.
Yeah. So it's, well, just to give you an idea, I told you there's over 1,000 different systems, and they have systems that are industry specific. And then they also have different types of CRMs. So the traditional thought of a database is really what a CRM is, or where it started, right?
Okay.
And that was being able to manage your contacts. So that's one type of CRM. They have another CRM that's more sales focused, more focused on the actual process that you take people through. And then they have a marketing type of CRM, and that is really specific for automating your marketing. So if you ever heard of inbound marketing, or people want to build their email list and landing pages and opt-ins, that's not email marketing, that's marketing automation.
Okay.
And that's explaining that whole process of what that type of CRM can do for your business.
Okay.
So it really does depend. It does depend on your industry, but more so it depends on what you need it to do for you and what are some main issues you're experiencing in your business. So it can be overwhelming to try to find the right system for you, because there's so many out there. Yeah.
Interesting. So that probably explains why so many people try to do this on their own, and they become confused. Like you said, there are over 1,000 of them. You don't really understand what a CRM is supposed to be or can be for your particular situation. And you have people out there promoting certain ways of doing things, like the marketing inbound, the email list. I think we've all gotten caught up in that. You know, you've got to build this huge email list, and then you need to have the landing pages. And, you know, after a while, you get so totally confused with all of this stuff that you're supposed to do that it actually becomes ineffectual. Yes. So this is what I'm hearing that you're really able to help people with, to find the one that works for them, for their type of business, and eliminate the clutter of all these other suggestions that are out there.
Absolutely.
We don't get lost. And like I said, just it ends up like being in a spider web.
Yeah, it does. But when you think of it, Americans in particular, we were kind of built to be consumers, and that doesn't change even when you have a business. So you have all of these people out here talking about how to win high ticket clients, do this, do that, marketing this, landing pages that. And if you don't know how all that fits together and what you need to make sure it's successful, then you're just going to spend a whole lot of money and not get the results you're looking for.
Wow. I think that is just an awesome premise. So I'm going to ask you right now, for people who are listening and who recognize that this may be their situation, how can people get in touch with you?
Yes, I am on LinkedIn. You can look me up by my first and last name.
Okay.
I am also on Facebook. You can email me at Tamara at tamaraburkett.com as well.
Okay, excellent. So when people come to you, let's say we take someone who just heard this and they're like, this sounds like something I need. What do they need to bring with them into the conversation so that it will be fruitful, so that you can see what they need and they can get an idea of where they can go?
That's a great question. I always like to start with, of course, what's their business, what, service they provide or product, and let me know really your backstory in terms of what have you used, and why isn't it working for you, and where do you see your business? So that really helps me understand the foundation of what's going on and what you'd like to see happen. And then also knowing your number. So what is your average sale? Do you know that number? What is your conversion rate? So how many people do you need to speak with in order for you to get, so many sales? If you don't know those answers, that's fine. If you do, that definitely adds to the conversation.
Okay. So this is for someone who has really taken time to look at their business and say, I need help. Number one, I need help. That's that honesty factor and humility factor.
Yes.
And then to see what do they know about their business. Because so many times as small business owners, we're so busy running after the sales that we don't always reach back and take the time to really look at what we want or what we need.
Right.
And right now, people are in that really in that space because every sale is critical.
Yes.
The world stopped for a moment, and now it's geared back up. And if you're still in a state of confusion about your business and what you need in various areas, you're really at a loss. So I think that this is a very important topic for our listening audience, most of whom are small business owners.
Yes.
And are struggling through this time of world chaos. And yet there's this kind of information that can help them pull out of it and pull through. So as a CRM, one who has have you developed your own particular CRM, or do you just use what's available?
I do not have a software that I represent or affiliate with because the market is so huge and there's so many of them out there.
Okay.
So again, it's really about the customer and their needs, and we can find the CRM that works for them and even customize it so that it truly fits them like a glove.
All right. Excellent. All right. This is awesome information. So thank you for that. But I also want to ask you, you're a virtual events facilitator.
Yes.
And this is something that I think is so critical right now, because basically everyone is face-to-face through a screen.
Right.
So could you talk to us about doing virtual events and how you facilitate them and what that can mean for our listening audience?
Right. The key to facilitating a virtual event is the level of engagement for the audience. A lot of us are familiar with Zoom because you can get a free account. It's easy to use. Cut and paste the link, and bam, you're face to face with someone. But a lot of people have experienced what they call Zoom fatigue because it's like you're on, right? Lights, camera, action.
Yes.
So you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention because they see when you're looking down or when you're looking at your phone. So you have to be on and pay attention. And then you see yourself in the video. So you're paying attention to how you look.
Right. You're trying to.
Right. So there's all these things going on that, it can be overwhelming. Right.
Okay.
So when you do the one-on-one meetings or when you do small group meetings, one of the things you want to pay attention to is definitely your surroundings and your backgrounds. It took me a while. I was on Zoom quite often, but a lot of times I would just have my picture and you can hear my voice, but you couldn't see me because there were some things it was just a lot, right? So you want to pay attention to your surroundings and your background so that it's not busy. You can use virtual backgrounds. A lot of people do. Just be aware of gauge the event in the meeting in terms of how formal it is. Right. If it's a formal meeting and you want to use virtual backgrounds, make sure you have a green screen back there so you're not floating or one arm isn't like missing when you go to grab your water or something. Yeah. So that's something that you do want to pay attention to. You also, again, when it comes to engagement, if you're running a meeting or an event, I strongly suggest you get a paid account with Zoom if you're using Zoom, because then you'll have access to more features where you could brand your Zoom account, meaning that you can create your own link that is more aligned with like your logo or your company. Things of that nature, even the password. You also want to take advantage of those breakout rooms and make sure that people are able to interact with you. That's really what it's all about. If you do that and you are just truly natural in who you are, it works out well. I facilitated an event where it was a Rotary event where there were over 200 people there, and it was amazing. One of the things we made sure we paid attention to the settings. So when people log in, when people go to the link and log in, and let's say they log in before the meeting starts, what will they see? Okay. What message will they see? That's in your regular settings. So you want to go make sure that you're very familiar with your settings, because it really takes into account the full experience from when the person registers for the event to the time that they actually log on, even during, and things of that nature. And is truly about the level of engagement that you want your customers or your participants to have. You can even play music. That'll be a lively event. If you play some music when they come in,
yes, they're automatically moving.
Right. They'll be moving around, and you can blend in some of the things from in-person type, right? So you can send them like a swag bag before the event that has your information on it. You can also, it was this tip that when I was looking at a training, a lady talked about how they did a pre-registration. So for everyone who registered, they had a quick 5-minute meeting with them where they went over how to use the different features in the meeting, so people be familiar with it when they had the actual live event. And that served so many purposes in terms of building a deeper connection and pretty much confirming that person will be there when the day of the event.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So tons of things you can do virtually, and then also beyond that to help make it a successful event and a wonderful experience for your participants.
Oh, wow. That's a juicy bit of information.
Yeah.
Because right now, anything that you want to do, you literally have to create it online. People are even taking their large events and putting them online.
Yeah.
So that's a juicy bit of information for our listening audience. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
What do you like most about doing virtual event facilitating? Is there something particularly that you enjoy?
I really like being in the background. If I can just run logistics,
Okay.
and just watch as all the people come on and their excitement. And I love the idea of like being that virtual fly on the wall.
Okay, I like that. That's a new role for the fly on the wall. Now it's virtual too. That's great. That's really good. You have such a lovely personality, and it's very engaging, and it's nice to see that you're doing work that you really love and that you're committed to. And along with that line, you are also an author.
Yes.
So would you tell us a lot about that? Tell us about your book.
Yes. So I co-authored a business book called Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owners. Fresh perspectives on profitability, people, productivity, and finding peace in your business. So this is a series, a book series, and it's the 3rd edition. And my chapter is called Cracking the Code on CRM. So the information I just shared with you, that and then some is in the chapter of this book. And we published it last year in November. And it was a very exciting moment for me.
Okay, very good. So a lot of the information that you just shared is going to be found in that book.
Yes, about CRMs. Mm-hmm.
So where can people find it? Where can they purchase it?
They can go to my website or they can go to Amazon.
Okay, so it's in both places. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Very good. And you said that there's another book coming out. We had a little pre-chat. You said there's another book coming?
There's a 4th edition coming out this year, and it'll be in November. I'm not sure of the date. But what's really cool about this book series, Brilliant Breakthroughs, is that each year we find different authors to bring different perspectives on those 4 pillars in your business: profitability, people, productivity, and peace, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of this stuff is cutting edge in a sense that it's really about the new age and how to do business. So how do you cut through that noise of what people tell you should do, mm-hmm. and what really works? Okay. So it's almost like a pocketbook, a quick read. You go to whatever chapter you need information on, you read that, and you're good to go.
Okay. That's nice. That's like a little recipe book. For business. And it's interesting, you mentioned those 4 pillars, and one of them you've said earlier was peace. Mm-hmm. Can you talk to us a little bit more about what it means to establish peace in this new age of business? Because we are going into a totally different arena as far as business is concerned, and people have been upended. Their lives have been upended in every way. How mm-hmm. do you establish peace in as we move into this new age of business?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's really interesting how it feels like things are moving at warp speed right now. Mm-hmm. And even though digital has been here for a good 10, 20 years, we have been pushed into this next age. So people who were not prepared, who were still heavily focused on in-person meetings and doing things and did not have a digital presence, they find themselves extremely behind now. So finding peace in your business and in your life right now is just being able to slow down and just reevaluate things in your life and understand where your fear lies. And what if your greatest fear happened? Then what, right? Then what? And sit with that, because you're going to be uncomfortable. In terms of being able to move forward, you will be uncomfortable because it's forcing you to do some things that you've never done before, that you didn't want to do,
Well,
So you really need to dig in and get comfortable with that and really evaluate what you need in order to move forward. Okay. And just be ready for that. And I promise you'll be able to get over the hump and move forward.
Okay, thank you for that. Because sometimes I've been saying to many people as we move through this unprecedented time, that, this is really a spiritual time in a way. You're not going to find your answers floating out there for you. It really is an internal work that has to be done. Absolutely. And you hit on that very well, that you really have to slow down. We all have to slow down, which is amazing because so many people are having a hard time with that. Because we're used to living just over the top and just running around and doing everything. All of a sudden we're sat down. Yeah. And now it's like, okay, well, everything that I planned on doing is now not what's going to be. Right. How do I get to that next place? And I want to say thank you so much for coming on to Just Minding My Business. I really appreciate you being here. Because you've given us 3 wonderful ways of establishing or reestablishing ourselves. This idea of a CRM, finding a system that will work for my individual business. The right software, rather than having Excel spreadsheets, which I think are the bane of everyone's business. I'm sorry, it's wonderful for sorting out information, but trying to utilize it can be overwhelming. Especially if you have 10 different spreadsheets for each different facets. It's just like craziness. And if you've got emails that you've been trying to hold on to and figure out, how do I put all this together? So the idea of a CRM, a software, maybe 2 if necessary, to streamline the work load and the workflow and the outcome of your business. That's what we're having so much trouble with. And like we just said just now, finding peace in your business, going inside, slowing down. This is one of the things that everyone has to look at. The way that we worked before is not going to work. Right. Then you brought to us the wonderful concept of virtual event facilitator. And I'm sure people will be calling you because they are going to want to know how to do this. Because if you're not digitally prepared as you brought out, it is quite something to have to get on Zoom or any other platform and figure it all out. As you saw with me earlier on, there are things you just don't know because somebody else is doing it or what have you. And you have to learn these, you have to facilitate. So actually, I'm grateful for what happened this evening. It was just a good learning experience for me. So people are going to be calling you about being a virtual events facilitator. Okay. And then they're going to want a copy of your book. Okay. As we all need something that we can open up during the course of our business day when we get crazy and we feel like just throwing up our hands, and we need to say, oh, okay, wait a minute, there's something in here that I can look at. Is it my productivity that I'm worried about? Is it the people that I have to deal with it? Something nice, a nice desktop companion to do in your business. So Tamara, could you please give us one more time how we can get in touch with you?
Sure. You can get in touch with me by reaching out on LinkedIn, which you can type in my name and you'll find me, and you'll find the same headshot that I gave you will be the headshot on my LinkedIn. Okay. So you'll find me that way. Matter of fact, the same headshot is on all of my social media handles. So whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook that you want to find me, you'll be able to look at that and see. And then also my website is tamaraburkett.com. You can go there and check out my website and get in touch with me there as well.
Very good. So thank you for that. And I want to ask you, do you have final thing that you would like to leave with our audience?
Yeah, this is a very interesting time because although we are forced to social distance, it's also bringing back that human contact, that one-on-one human contact and compassion and understanding for each other. So it's very interesting to see. I'm having more meaningful conversations with people in my network now than what I have in the past. So there's room for us to continue to stumble and make mistakes as we move forward, and people will be very forgiving. Your clients will be forgiving as well.
Oh, that's awesome, because yes, thank you for that. We do need to have that contact and to be forgiving. Thank you for reminding us of that we are all going through this together. And so I thank you again. Thank you so much, Tamara. You already forgave me for mispronouncing your name, so I'm going to take you up on that.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, that's my parents. I blame it on my parents, but thank you for having me.
No problem. So I want to thank you to our guest, Tamara Burkett, and to our listening audience for standing in with us. We're here every Thursday at 6:00 p.m. and you can hear us on multiple podcast platforms. But we are so pleased to have had this information in this time with Tamara Burkett. So thank you for being with Minding My Business Media, and we will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Your business, through Just Minding My Business Media, has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV. Through Just Minding My Business, dynamic digital marketing platform. Visit jmb.assistercircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level. Thank you to the amazing women of A Sister Circle Empowerment Network, ASCEN LLC, and our media partners. Let Just Minding My Business Media promote your business. For information, visit us at jmb.assistercircle.org. That's jmb.assistercircle.org. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks. For when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.